Attraction rarely arrives with an announcement. It does not usually walk into a room and introduce itself clearly. Instead, it appears in small shifts in attention, in tone, in presence. People often expect attraction to be obvious, dramatic, and unmistakable, but in reality, it is far more subtle and layered. Most individuals communicate interest indirectly because direct expression carries risk. There is the risk of rejection, embarrassment, or misreading the situation. Subtlety becomes a form of emotional protection. It allows someone to move closer without feeling exposed. This is why attraction often lives in behavior more than in explicit words. You may notice it in consistency. Someone who is attracted does not just appear once, they return. They respond, they engage, they remember details. Subtle attraction is repetitive attention. It shows up in the willingness to continue interaction even when there is no practical reason to do so. There is also a difference in the quality of attention. Polite attention is surface level, but attraction carries focus. When someone is attracted, they listen differently. They hold eye contact a little longer. They ask follow-up questions. They notice small things, preferences, moods, changes in energy. None of this is loudly romantic, yet it signals psychological investment. Another subtle signal is emotional softening. Attraction often reduces guardedness. Someone may share slightly more than usual, laugh more easily, or allow moments of silence without discomfort. These are not dramatic gestures, but they indicate growing comfort, and comfort is one of the strongest pathways through which attraction develops. Subtle attraction also appears through proximity. This does not always mean physical closeness in an obvious way. It can be choosing to sit near you, extending conversations, or finding reasons to continue interaction. People move toward what feels good to them, often without consciously announcing why. Language changes too. Instead of direct statements of desire, you hear invitations. Suggestions replace declarations. We should do this again. Text me when you get home. I like talking to you. These phrases may seem simple, but they carry intention. They create continuation, and continuation is where attraction lives. There is also an important psychological dynamic behind subtlety. Attraction grows best in space, not pressure. When something is stated too directly too early, it can create tension or expectation. Subtle communication allows attraction to unfold naturally. It lets both people adjust, observe, and feel safe. Safety is central here. Subtle signals are often a way of testing safety. Is this person receptive? Do they respond warmly? Do they respect boundaries? Attraction is not just desire, it is evaluation. Subtle behavior allows someone to gather information while staying emotionally protected. Misunderstandings happen when people look only for direct statements. They may assume interest is absent because it was not declared, but human connection rarely follows that script. Attraction is frequently expressed through patterns, not proclamations. It is visible in effort, responsiveness, and emotional openness. Timing also plays a role. Subtle attraction tends to build gradually. It strengthens through shared moments, familiarity, and positive emotional experiences. What looks like small behavior at first often becomes clearer over time. The pattern matters more than any single moment. Another reason attraction stays subtle is social conditioning. Many people are taught not to be overly direct about desire. They learn to communicate interest in ways that feel socially safe, through friendliness, warmth, humor, or availability. These behaviors can appear ambiguous, but ambiguity is often intentional. It keeps the interaction flexible. Perhaps the most important insight is this: subtle does not mean weak. Subtle attraction can be very strong. It simply expresses itself through presence rather than declaration. It is the choice to stay in conversation, the willingness to invest attention, the comfort that grows without force. When you understand that attraction is usually subtle, you stop looking for dramatic signs and start noticing patterns. You pay attention to consistency, emotional tone, and effort. You recognize that interest is often communicated through how someone shows up, not what they formally announce. Attraction, in its most natural form, is quiet movement toward connection. It is built in small signals repeated over time, and those small signals, when seen clearly, are often far more meaningful than any direct statement could ever be. Comfort is one of the clearest psychological signals of interest because attraction cannot grow where tension dominates. When someone feels comfortable around you, their nervous system begins to relax. That relaxation is not accidental. It reflects a sense of safety, emotional ease, and trust, all of which are foundational for deeper connection. Comfort often appears before obvious attraction. It is the environment in which attraction develops. Without comfort, people remain guarded, performative, or distant. With comfort, they become more natural. They speak more freely, react more authentically, and allow their real personality to be visible. You can notice comfort in the way conversations flow. There is less pressure to impress and less fear of silence. Silence itself becomes easier. When someone is comfortable, pauses do not feel awkward, they feel shared. This shift indicates that interaction is no longer about evaluation, but about presence. Another sign of comfort is emotional openness. Someone who feels at ease may share personal stories, small frustrations, or everyday details of their life. These disclosures are not dramatic confessions, but they signal trust. Trust is a strong indicator that the person values the interaction and feels safe continuing it. Comfort also changes body language. Movements become less rigid, facial expressions soften, laughter becomes more spontaneous rather than polite. These physical cues reflect internal regulation. The nervous system is not in a defensive state. When defense is lower, connection has space to grow. One of the most important aspects of comfort is predictability. People feel comfortable when they experience consistency in behavior. If you respond in a stable, respectful, and emotionally regulated way, comfort increases over time. This consistency reduces uncertainty, and reduced uncertainty allows attraction to emerge without fear. Comfort is also visible in time investment. When someone feels at ease, they are more willing to extend interaction. Conversations last longer, plans become easier to make, there is less hesitation around spending time together. The willingness to remain present is often a stronger signal than any verbal expression. There is a psychological principle at work here. People move toward environments that feel emotionally safe. Comfort creates positive association. Your presence becomes linked with ease rather than stress. Over time, that association strengthens attachment and interest. Another subtle indicator of comfort is playfulness. Playfulness requires safety because it involves vulnerability. Teasing, joking, or relaxed humor shows that someone does not feel the need to stay guarded. This emotional flexibility is a strong sign that the interaction feels good to them. Comfort also allows authenticity. Instead of carefully managing every word, someone begins to show imperfections, small frustrations, quirks, or unfiltered reactions. This is significant because authenticity is rarely offered in environments where someone feels judged. When authenticity appears, it suggests psychological safety. It is important to understand that comfort does not mean passivity or lack of attraction. In many cases, comfort is what makes attraction possible. Intense attraction without comfort often creates anxiety, inconsistency, or mixed signals. Sustainable attraction, however, is built on emotional ease. There is also an element of nervous system mirroring. When one person remains calm, respectful, and emotionally steady, the other person often mirrors that state. This shared regulation strengthens comfort and deepens connection. Attraction is not only emotional, it is physiological. Comfort can be observed in responsiveness as well. Someone who feels at ease tends to reply, engage, and return to interaction without excessive hesitation. This does not mean constant availability, but it reflects willingness. Willingness is a quiet form of interest. Another powerful signal of comfort is reduced self-consciousness. When someone stops worrying about how they appear and starts focusing on the interaction itself, it shows that they feel accepted. Acceptance lowers defenses, and lowered defenses create room for closeness. However, comfort develops gradually. It is not forced, and it cannot be demanded. It grows through repeated experiences of respect, emotional stability, and positive interaction. Each safe interaction becomes evidence that closeness is safe. Misinterpretation happens when people overlook comfort because it seems ordinary. They look for dramatic signs and ignore the quiet ones. Yet comfort is often the most meaningful indicator because it reflects how someone feels in your presence, not just what they say. Ultimately, comfort signals that someone does not feel the need to protect themselves from you. That absence of defense is powerful. It means your presence is associated with ease, safety, and emotional permission. And when those elements exist consistently, attraction has a natural place to grow. Wanting more time together is rarely accidental. Time is one of the most valuable resources people have, and when someone consistently chooses to extend it with you, that choice carries meaning. Attraction often reveals itself not through dramatic declarations, but through the simple desire to prolong connection. When a woman is interested, she may not directly state desire. Instead, she creates continuity. She finds reasons for the conversation to continue. She may say, "Stay a little longer," or "Let's talk a bit more," or she might delay ending a call even after the main topic is finished. These behaviors are subtle, but they signal that your presence feels good to her. Time extension is psychologically significant because people instinctively move away from what drains them and toward what energizes them. If she is extending time, it means the interaction feels rewarding rather than exhausting. Attraction often feels energizing. Even after a long day, someone will carve out space for a person they are drawn to. There is also the element of emotional regulation. When someone wants more time, it usually means their nervous system feels calm around you. They are not counting minutes. They are not searching for exits. Instead, they are relaxed enough to remain present. That comfort allows time to pass without pressure. Sometimes the signal appears in planning. Instead of letting an interaction fade, she may suggest another activity. "What are you doing after this?" Or "We should grab coffee next week." Future-oriented scheduling is one of the clearest indicators of interest because it shows intention. She is not just enjoying the current moment, she is imagining another one. Another subtle form of wanting more time is digital continuation. Texts that follow up after a meeting, messages sent late at night just to continue talking, or small updates throughout the day indicate that she wants the connection to remain active. These are small bridges that keep interaction alive. It is important to notice the pattern rather than a single moment. Anyone can extend time once out of politeness, but repeated efforts to continue conversation, repeated invitations, or consistent responsiveness reflect something deeper. Attraction expresses itself through repetition and consistency. There is also an emotional layering that happens when time increases. The longer people stay in interaction, the more opportunity there is for vulnerability. Extending time creates space for deeper conversation, shared laughter, and emotional bonding. Someone who is not interested usually keeps interactions efficient. Someone who is interested allows them to expand. Physical proximity can also reflect this desire. She may sit a little closer, walk a bit slower, or linger when saying goodbye. The goodbye itself may stretch longer than necessary. These small delays are meaningful. They indicate reluctance to disconnect. Wanting more time is also connected to curiosity. Attraction often brings a desire to know more stories, more opinions, more experiences. When she continues asking questions even after the main conversation could logically end, she is signaling engagement. Engagement is a form of investment. There is a psychological comfort in shared presence. When someone enjoys simply being around you without needing constant stimulation, it shows genuine interest. They are not staying because they are bored. They are staying because they prefer your company over alternatives. However, it is essential to distinguish desire for time from obligation. True interest feels voluntary. The energy remains warm rather than forced. There is no visible impatience. Instead, there is ease in the continuation. Another key detail is flexibility. If she adjusts her schedule occasionally to create more time with you, that effort is significant. People prioritize what matters to them. Rearranging small parts of a day or making spontaneous plans often reflects attraction. Attraction also makes time feel shorter. When someone says, "That went by so fast," it suggests they were immersed in the interaction. Immersion indicates emotional engagement, which often aligns with interest. But it is equally important to remember that wanting more time is still not automatic consent for anything beyond connection. It signals comfort and attraction, not permission. Respect remains central. Healthy dynamics grow when time extension is met with patience and emotional awareness. Ultimately, when a woman wants more time with you, she is communicating that your presence feels good, safe, and valuable. She is choosing proximity. She is choosing continuation. And in the language of attraction, continuation is one of the clearest signs that interest is present and growing. Attraction often reveals itself through invitations, because invitations are a subtle way of creating space for closeness without demanding it. Instead of directly stating desire, a person opens a door. That door might be time together, shared activities, or moments that allow interaction to continue beyond its natural endpoint. Invitations carry intention. When someone invites you into their time, their environment, or their attention, they are signaling that your presence is welcome. This is psychologically significant because people are selective about who they allow into their personal space. Space is personal, and offering it reflects openness. These invitations are not always obvious. They can appear in simple language, suggesting coffee, proposing another conversation, sharing something they want to watch together, or finding small reasons to reconnect. The behavior may look casual, but repetition transforms casual gestures into meaningful signals. One important aspect of invitations is that they reduce distance. Distance is not only physical, it is emotional and psychological. By inviting interaction, someone is actively decreasing that distance. They are moving the connection from incidental to intentional. There is also a sense of testing within invitations. An invitation allows someone to observe your response. Do you accept? Do you show enthusiasm? Do you respect boundaries? This feedback helps them assess safety and compatibility. In this way, invitations function as both signals of interest and tools for evaluation. Another layer is control. Invitations allow a person to express interest while maintaining autonomy. Instead of surrendering control through direct confession, they create opportunities where closeness can develop naturally. This balance between openness and control is common in early attraction because vulnerability is gradual. Frequency matters. A single invitation might reflect politeness or situational convenience. Consistent invitations, however, indicate prioritization. When someone repeatedly creates opportunities to spend time with you, they are allocating emotional and practical resources. Allocation is a strong indicator of value. Invitations also shape shared experiences. Attraction grows through experiences, not abstract feelings alone. Suggesting activities is a way of building those experiences. Each shared moment becomes emotional data, evidence that interaction feels good, safe, or meaningful. Timing of invitations can be revealing as well. Extending time when an interaction is about to end often signals that someone does not want the connection to stop. Wanting continuation is a core feature of attraction. It reflects satisfaction with the present moment and curiosity about future ones. There is also a difference between generic and personalized invitations. Personalized invitations show attention. When someone suggests something aligned with your interests, it indicates that they are not only inviting you but also considering you. Consideration is emotional investment expressed through action. Invitations often include flexibility. Instead of pressure, there is room for adjustment, alternative times, casual framing, or low-stakes settings. This flexibility is important because genuine attraction respects comfort levels. It seeks closeness without creating obligation. Psychologically, invitations signal willingness. Willingness is one of the strongest indicators of interest because it reflects choice. People make time for what they value. Even small invitations demonstrate that you occupy mental space in their decision-making. Another subtle element is environment sharing. Inviting someone into a personal environment, even digitally through sharing playlists, recommendations, or daily routines, reflects trust. Environment is an extension of identity. Offering access to it suggests openness. However, invitations are not guarantees of deeper intent. Context matters. Personality, cultural norms, and communication style all influence how invitations are used. What matters most is the pattern. Patterns reveal motivation more clearly than isolated moments. It is also important to understand that invitations are collaborative signals. They require response. Attraction often grows through this back and forth creation of opportunities. One person opens space, the other steps into it, and the cycle repeats. This rhythm builds connection. Misinterpretation happens when invitations are viewed only through words rather than behavior. The tone, consistency, and effort behind the invitation carry meaning. An invitation given with enthusiasm, follow through, and attention signals something different than one offered out of habit. Attraction tends to move through shared time because time is the most valuable resource people give. Invitations are the mechanism through which that time is exchanged. They are quiet expressions of interest that prioritize presence over declaration. Ultimately, invitations represent movement toward closeness while preserving emotional safety. They allow connection to deepen organically. They create opportunities where comfort, familiarity, and desire can grow without force. When someone consistently invites you into their time, attention, and experiences, they are not just filling space. They are making space, and making space is one of the clearest behavioral signs that a connection matters. Physical intimacy is often misunderstood as something that begins with desire alone, but psychologically, it is far more connected to emotional safety. Emotional safety is the condition in which someone feels respected, not judged, and free to be themselves without fear of pressure or negative consequences. When that safety exists, closeness becomes possible. Without it, even strong attraction can stall or disappear. Emotional safety lowers defenses. Every person carries protective mechanisms shaped by past experiences, expectations, and social conditioning. When someone senses impatience, pressure, unpredictability, or emotional volatility, those defenses activate. Attraction cannot grow easily in a defensive state because the mind is focused on protection rather than connection. Safety, on the other hand, shifts the nervous system into a regulated state. In that state, curiosity increases, openness expands, and vulnerability feels less risky. Vulnerability is essential for intimacy because intimacy requires being seen beyond surface interaction. Emotional safety creates the environment where that visibility feels acceptable. One of the clearest indicators of emotional safety is the freedom to express boundaries without fear. When someone believes their no, hesitation, or pacing will be respected, trust deepens. Trust is not built through persuasion. It is built through consistent respect. That respect signals that closeness is a choice, not an obligation. Emotional safety also appears in predictability. Consistent behavior, calm communication, respectful responses, and emotional steadiness reduces uncertainty. Uncertainty creates anxiety, and anxiety disrupts attraction. Predictability allows someone to relax into the interaction rather than constantly evaluating it. Another important element is the absence of pressure. Pressure can be subtle. It can appear as urgency, repeated pushing, or emotional expectations. Even when interest exists, pressure often interrupts desire because it shifts the dynamic from shared connection to performance. Emotional safety removes that performance demand. Listening plays a significant role in creating safety. When someone feels heard, not interrupted, not dismissed, not corrected, they experience validation. Validation does not mean agreement. It means their experience is acknowledged. Feeling acknowledged strengthens trust, and trust supports closeness. Emotional safety is also reinforced through non-judgment. People are more open when they do not feel evaluated. Judgment increases self-consciousness, and self-consciousness limits authenticity. Attraction grows more easily in environments where authenticity is welcomed rather than scrutinized. There is also a pacing component. Emotional safety allows intimacy to unfold gradually. Gradual progression creates anticipation and comfort at the same time. When pacing matches someone's comfort level, desire can expand naturally. When pacing exceeds comfort, withdrawal often occurs. Another psychological factor is emotional regulation. Someone who manages their own emotions effectively creates a stable relational environment. excitement. Emotional unpredictability, sudden anger, withdrawal, or inconsistency reduces safety. Stability communicates reliability, and reliability supports trust. Safety also involves acceptance of ambiguity. Attraction does not need constant definition in early stages. When interaction is allowed to exist without immediate labels or expectations, pressure decreases. That reduction in pressure supports exploration and emotional openness. Importantly, emotional safety does not eliminate attraction's excitement. Instead, it transforms it. Instead of anxiety-driven intensity, attraction becomes grounded. Grounded attraction is more sustainable because it is not dependent on uncertainty or emotional highs and lows. There is a strong neurological component as well. Positive, safe interactions release chemicals associated with bonding and relaxation. Over time, your presence becomes linked with those feelings. This association strengthens attachment and increases comfort with closeness. Misinterpretation happens when people focus only on visible chemistry and ignore emotional environment. Chemistry can create initial interest, but without safety it rarely leads to meaningful intimacy. Emotional safety is the bridge between attraction and closeness. Another key aspect is agency. Emotional safety preserves a person's sense of choice. When someone feels they are choosing closeness rather than being guided toward it, desire feels authentic. Authentic desire is stronger and more sustainable than pressured desire. It is also important to recognize that safety is cumulative. It is built through many small interactions, respectful responses, patience, consistency, and emotional awareness. Each safe interaction becomes evidence that closeness is safe, and that evidence gradually lowers protective barriers. Ultimately, physical intimacy tends to follow emotional safety because safety allows vulnerability, trust, and authenticity to coexist. When someone feels safe, they do not need to protect themselves from the interaction. That absence of protection creates space for closeness to emerge naturally, without force, urgency, or expectation.